All right, Knights, it's time to continue on our journey to figure out what the rest of shine means. So up until this point, you've learned that S means self-aware, H stands for hardworking, and today we're going to look at the I, which means involved. So what does involved mean? Involved means to actively participate in something. So as we continue through this presentation, I want you to think about, what are you involved in? How can you become more involved? So first we're going to start by playing a game. Let's play Shine. Shine is our version of bingo. As different activities are called out, mark them when you have them on your Shine board. If you get 5 in a row, that can be vertically, horizontally, or diagonally, I want you to yell, I shine. All right, teachers, this is a great opportunity for you to pause this video and pass out the Shine boards to all of your students. All right, students, now that you have your Shine boards, make sure that you pay attention as things are called out and mark them off. And remember, when you get 5 in a row, you need to yell, I shine.
Go ahead and cross off your choose to shine space.
S, softball. N, chorus. H, playing instruments. I, gymnastics. S, football.
H, between practice problems.
B, dance. E, tennis. S, lacrosse. I, class discussion. S, soccer. H, lacrosse. H, yearbook. H, art.
H, art club.
I, student council. N, horseback riding. E, pick up trash. I, help with siblings. H, asking questions.
E, book club.
S, math team. Oh. H, Girl Scouts. H, tutoring.
H, tutoring.
I, taking notes. S, track. E, motocross. H, answering questions in class. N, robotics team. I, fishing.
Thanks for playing Shine with us.
All right, students, so hopefully now someone in the classroom was able to yell shine and got their candy treat. Since February is known as Black History Month, we wanted to take some time to highlight a few African Americans who became involved in the dreams they believed in, and as a result, they changed history. First, we're going to hear from Kid President on the story of the famous Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Once upon a time, there's a man named Martin Luther King Jr. It's funny to think about because now we know his name so well, but at one time he was just a kid. Like maybe you're a kid watching this. Well, he was a kid too. Well, maybe you're a grown-up. That's okay too. Former kids are welcome here. I don't discriminate. Martin Luther King grew up to be a great man, of course, but things weren't all that great in the world while he was growing up. Not everybody was treated like they were somebody. And I believe that you should treat everybody like it's their birthday. But they didn't do that. People looked at the color of their skin. And that's how they decided if they were friends or not. Not cool, man. That didn't make him feel good. That didn't make anybody feel good. But his parents helped him grow up. He went to church. He learned about love. He grew up to be a minister to help a lot of people. He did all sorts of cool stuff. He helped a lot of people learn about love too. But still, he looked around and said, things should be better. He wanted to change things, so he did stuff. He decided, instead of spreading the hate, he would spread the love. He wanted to bring people together. Where people were hurting, he stepped in to help. He marched with them, he walked with them. He walked arm in arm with everyone. And sometimes it didn't go well, but he kept going. Sometimes he ended up in prison, but he kept going. Some people didn't like him, but he kept going. Some days were hard, but he kept going. Love does that, it just keeps going, even when things are dark. And, well, I don't like this part of the story, but things did get pretty dark. Someone who didn't agree with him shot him. He died in April 1968. Now, Kid President, why are you telling us this sad story? Come on. I know it. I'm sorry, but it happened. I don't like that happened. Now, I gotta tell you something. When things aren't awesome, it can be tough. And things will always be awesome, but your response can be. Martin Luther King's response? It was awesome. Today I just wanted us to think about this. Isn't it cool that we can change things? Like any of us, anybody. He dreamed and he changed things. And he dreamed and he kept sharing his dreams. They became not just his dream, a lot of people's dream. Like this one. I have a dream that little black boys and black girls will join hands with white boys and white girls and become sisters and brothers. That's a pretty good dream. Let's dream like that. That could change things.
So just like Kid President said, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream, and no matter what happened, no matter what obstacles came in place to him, he always kept going. He continued to stay involved in the fight that he was willing to fight. Just like this quote says, the time is always right to do what is right. So Martin Luther King knew that now was the time for him to get involved if he wanted to see a change happen in the world. As we continue on, we're going to look into other African Americans that had an impact from being involved in history. The first one is Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was born into slavery and endured physical violence daily. Tubman wanted a better life and was involved and led the way by guiding fellow slaves to freedom on the Underground Railroad. The next person is Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks didn't believe in how African Americans were being treated, so she got involved by refusing to get out of her seat on the bus. While Rosa Parks suffered consequences for her actions, her quiet, courageous act changed America. The next that we're looking at are three women, Dorothy Vaughan, Katherine Johnson, and Mary Jackson. All three of these women believed that women should be involved in the workforce. They fought for their places at NASA to complete the math computations needed to get a man into space. Due to their involvement and persistency, a man was sent into orbit and got the United States back into the famous space race. This next one is a familiar face to many, Jackie Robinson. He was the first African American man to play in Major League Baseball. Through his involvement, Robinson broke the color barrier in baseball. Through all these trials and tribulations that he went through, and the involvement that he had, he always stood by his original purpose. He was not training for the big leagues. Rather, he was training for his role to make America one. Next is Lucy Craft Laney. This is a famous person for the Augusta area. Miss Laney believed that for African Americans to be successful, they needed to be well educated. She wanted to get involved, so she attended conferences as speakers to hopefully help raise money for her school. Through hard work and dedication, it paid off, and she was able to open not only the first grade school, but also a kindergarten and a nursing school for African Americans. As a result, Lucy Laney has gone down in history as one of Georgia's most influential educational leaders. The next one is Thurgood Marshall. Marshall applied to law school and initially was rejected because of the color of his skin. He later applied to another law school and was accepted. The dean of the school encouraged him to use law as a means of social transformation. He continued to follow his dean's advice and became the first African American Supreme Court justice. Through Marshall's time as the justice, he had a record-breaking 32 cases and won 29 of them. He is known as the most influential figure in shaping social policies and upholding laws to protect minorities. This last one is a sweet little girl named Ruby Bridges. At the age of 6 years old, this little girl from New Orleans advanced the civil rights movement when on November of 1960, she became the first African American student to integrate an elementary school in the South. Even though she was little and she had to be escorted to and from school on a regular basis by marshals for protection, she too was involved in making America what it is today. Maya Angelou was also very famous. She's had this quote, and it says, "When you do nothing, you feel overwhelmed and powerless. But when you get involved, you feel the sense of hope and accomplishment that comes from knowing you are working to make things better." This is something that I want you to think about. So if you sit back and do nothing, you really don't have an impact. But when you get involved, you have that sense of hope and accomplishment, and you're actually able to make the world a better place. So, now that we've gone through all of that, how exactly are you involved? Remember that involved means to actively participate in something. So now it's time to reflect. Teachers, now's a good time to go ahead and pause the video to pass out the reflection sheets. Students, think hard about how are you involved and what can you do to become involved. Now that you've taken some time to reflect about yourself and how you're involved, we want you to think about what does involvement look like in the restroom, in the cafeteria, in the classroom, when you're using technology, on the bus, and in the hallway. Work with your groups and go to these websites and fill in the questionnaire. Let us know how you think involvement looks in these specific areas around the school. Remember, as you continue through the rest of today, this week, and the rest of the year, always make good choices and choose to shine.